for an Uber, went all the way up to Wisconsin, and literally right when I arrived, there he had garbage trucks. Hey, how you doing, sir?
All right, I'll manage, young man.
Man, how you feeling today?
I'll manage.
That's good. Always good to be with Judge Joe Brown. What's going on in the world today?
Same old, same old. Been going on for a long, long time.
Well,
Gotten high tech with it.
yeah. I got some things to say. I went to Delaware like yesterday, and it was interesting for to say the least. I ran into a brother at a cookout, and I was ended up in the wrong place, and he said when me and another brother talked, he said that yeah, my friend got my brother got drowned out here. So what's going on in Delaware is they've had over the last 10 years they've had lynchings under one Joe Biden's son was the Attorney General, and they've had other ones, and some of the guys who possibly were escaped. One guy I know on the video, Henry Fordham, he escaped. They tried to, I guess, castrate him and things, but they said some people are scared to come out of their house. So I told the guy, look, man, I say you got to start fighting back physically and judicially. You can't just be a literal punching bag all the time. You got to fight back in both ways. You're on the street, fight back, and you're in the judicial system, you got to fight back that way too.
I don't get it. You have the Second Amendment. Arm yourself. Learn how to do what you need to do to use what you armed yourself with.
Well,
some people don't get it. It's a man thing, I guess.
Well, that's what I was trying to say. So, like I said, I'm more of the protocol of like, and I think I sent you. Matter of fact, I sent you the note. I think that I wrote, and I told you also get rid of the entire Black Caucus while you're at it.
It may not be a bad idea. Generally, there seem to be there are exceptions, but for the most part, seem to be next to useless.
Well,
I mean, you would think one of them went far enough in school to actually draft some legislation that might be needed or necessary.
Well,
or develop some expertise on some of these committees they're all supposed to be on.
Well, yeah, because as I was telling the brother when I was there, and he gave me a whole list of things. They had one attempted lynching or like a judicial statement from the Department of Delaware Justice Department on June 1st, 2015. But I told him, well, in 2015, why did you trying to take the Justice Department? You need to get to the State Department, and also yesterday you had Barack Obama in office at the time, and Beau Biden's son was the General, and he was saying in his speech that you got a Democratic nominee running for president right now who won't even address lynchings in his state, and this is Delaware.
Oh, but wait a minute. They had an anti-lynch bill thanks to Chicago and Juicy Jesse, aka Jesse Smollett, that Senator Kamala Harris and Senator Cory Booker styled the Anti-Lynch Act. What about that one? Oh, it doesn't say anything at all in the body of the bill about lynching or even black folk. Oh, that's that Equality Act thing that was called the Anti-Lynch Bill to do that bait and switch so it would get past the House that did nothing for black folk. Oh, that bill. Oh, yeah, I forgot about it. I thought everything relative to lynching was already well in hand. Well, how wrong of me. Also, 150 years of various and sundry federal bills that deal with lynching and night riding. Oh, we didn't need those because they're still on the books. There's nobody in enforced them. We needed a new anti-lynch act to deal with this kind of thing. But sorry, it doesn't touch that. It's got the LGBT queer folk and the pedophile folk. They get a good deal on that one, but you mean people in the state of the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party who is trying to pander to black votes? You mean they don't have any protections that they can get even under his son to be delivered from a lynching? Oh my goodness, how horrid.
Well, I got and as a matter of fact, before I leave, I'm gonna read you the because I got the paper downstairs. I'm gonna read a little portion of it to you. It's a little bit long, but I want to read some of the things that was on this paper. This guy did a good job of organizing this thing. So it was I talked to him, and he said that a lot of people are scared because it's like a lot of repression, and they said if you go around this brother, you'll be they might start looking for you next. They said they went out, did a demonstration yesterday. He said that they had a drone flying them over the area. So it's a lot of things, but one thing he did say that
Look, scared women, I can understand. Scared men, don't buy it. Hell with them.
well, and I just want to break this down. And I like when I came out there, I said I'm in Delaware, and I do know that Delaware is you remember like you said, and it was on the papers somewhat. Delaware was a slave holding state.
That's right.
So, I mean, if it's a slave holding state back then, some of the same elements still exist there today.
And don't forget, your Democratic presidential candidate back in the late 60s was talking about how proud he was that Delaware was a slave holding state, and he was mightily embarrassed that Delaware did not go with the Confederacy. And he said that was because they were so close to Washington, D.C., that they were intimidated.
Well, that's what I had actually spoke there, and I told the guys, listen, you talking about Joe Biden? To me, in my honest opinion, Joe Biden shouldn't even be living. So, I mean, I said, I guess
now, don't threaten anybody. We're not threatening. We're talking about hyperbole. All right, there you go.
Well, but yeah.
In other words, his health issues should have been the same as everybody else, and he should have passed on to wherever he was going to, hell, I presume, from natural causes. Okay, gotcha.
But I did say I looked on the line and I said, okay, this is a concealed carry state, so I brought my weapon with me and stuff like that on there. So just to
you
take
don't
all
need to say that. Don't say that. Somebody will earmark you for the next go around.
Okay, gotcha.
If you're packing, don't tell anybody where you were carrying unless it's your home state, and then you're welcome to say, "Yeah, I carry."
Yeah,
But
right.
Be careful when you do.
Yeah, I understand.
Make it a surprise. Surprises are much better.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
don't you think?
Yeah, you're right. Let me say something else to you. So going on the list here, I got a couple of things I want to bring up about the fall of Kamala Harris, actually, because they wrote an article in the op-ed. They're saying that, wait a minute, this might not have been a good idea because black folks are not rallying to Kamala like we thought they would.
They never have. They can't stand her once they get to know her. So why in the world would that happen? She comes from, not saying all of them are bad, but a Tamil, Brahmin, and they are the intellectual class in India. They're the schooled and the learned. They're at the top of the pyramid. Next below them come the warriors, out of which come the kings. But the Hindu value education over prowess on a battlefield and ability to lead. So they're at the top. They have a long history of intellect, but they've also got a long history of the worst kind of oppression on others. There is this thing called untouchability that they keep reviving from time to time, and it is not a good thing. In other words, if you get touched by someone who's in that caste, you're supposed to be purified because you are now unclean from having been touched. The untouchables are supposed to chase rats and eat them when they catch them.
Well, I had a
Not
friend of mine.
good.
I had a friend of mine also tell me today in another twist that some Indians from India or Indian Americans that moved here, they're not even fully behind her neither. So that's
No,
another
they're
thing.
not. See, she's an Indian American senator, but she has done absolutely nothing about introducing legislation in the U.S. Senate that would do something to protect her native people from the same kind of gross discrimination as is brought out by casteism
Well,
that is being imported from India by newly arriving immigrants. Now, Indians, by act of Congress back in the 50s, are considered Caucasian. So, when you get the official designation of Caucasian by the U.S. government, going back 60 some years, when you look at the fact that she is a Tamil Hindu Brahmin, she's Caucasian, even though she is kind of dark complected. She's not African, other than the fact that all people come out of Africa somewhere around 80, 95,000 years ago, and some preceding waves going back 150, 200,000 years ago. Other than that, she's not African. And her father says he is Caucasian as well. And his status is he's a mix of white descendants of plantation owners, and he's a descendant of Hindu Tamil Brahmins, which are also classified as Caucasian. So Kamala Harris is 100% Caucasian. Now, I don't get where all of these sorry Negroes with the need to field achievement have decided to say, oh, she's paper bag brown, so I guess that makes her one of us. No, it doesn't. Because if they would do something to read and banish the extreme ignorance that is so pervasive in our community, they might learn that guess what? All Caucasians are not pale and whitish. Australian Aboriginals are considered Caucasian, and they happen to be very dark,
well,
amongst others. Indians are considered Caucasians, and they tend to be very dark to paper bag brown.
well. Let me say something about her. But you know, I know you probably didn't watch it. I might have watched some of it, and some of it was so stomach turning, almost make your head spin. Of the Democratic National Convention.
You mean the Top Clown show? The season finale?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that one. Yeah, that the one. Yeah,
That would, yeah.
but I mean, you just had, and like even her, one of her main appointees was a woman named
The gay
Todd,
one,
huh?
the queer one.
Yes, but
LGBT queer, by the way, that's what the Q stands for in LGBTQ, also questioning. So since they use the term queer, BLM is a queer affirming network. So yeah, queer.
but this is my saying. I'm just saying, Judge, they don't have to keep on telling you every minute.
Why don't they keep their mouths shut?
But that's what I'm saying. Like when
I'll
she
go out.
now,
You don't go out and say I like the woman on top or I like him on the bottom, missionary style, or what is this where you have to tell everybody what you do? most of them, if they kept their mouth shut and didn't try to adopt certain mannerisms, nobody would know. Oh, we want everyone to know. Well, then take the onus.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, it's just wild that that they keep on telling you. And I'm looking at the people on the campaign. I'm just looking, and then yesterday they had an interview with Robin Roberts, Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris. So
How revolting.
Joe Biden says that yes, he shouldn't have said that you ain't black, but he said Donald Trump fans the flames of hatred and
the hell Donald Trump got to do about it? Trump didn't have me pissed off at Joe Biden or Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Why they always see? You know what? That is so panderingly racist. Because back in the 50s and 60s, black folk never could come up with any idea that would lead them to being disgruntled about what the hell was going on. It always had to be an outside agitator. We's gotten good relations with our color, yeah. They's happy with where they is and what they's about. It's these outside agitators that comes in and gets them all riled up. See, that's that thing about somebody's got to be responsible for getting the colored rebellious, because the underlying presumption is that we're too damn stupid to do something on our own unless some rare black person or somebody else comes in.
Oh. Yeah.
You right? Phone nearby is ringing. Let me turn that thing off. But if it
Oh. Oh, yeah, man. No, I gotta come back in the room, man. Yeah, I was wondering where you went, man. I said, I hope they ain't strike me down again.
This isn't the same thing. This is another. Technically, I'm on an iPad Pro, but it's routing it through my cell phone. And if somebody calls the cell phone, then what happens is that it interrupts what we're doing right now.
I got you. Yeah, I'm about to say, I hope this isn't another one of them things they strike me down on,
No, that's not what this one is this time.
All right, that's good.
Okay.
Now, getting back to this interview I was telling you about, so they asked him, so then Kamala Harris comes and says, but Joe Biden at least will say Black Lives Matter. I'm like, oh, here we go. They
I
keep it.
won't say that garbage either. I say black folk matter, but Black Lives Matter is a queer affirming network that's dedicated to the destruction of the traditional nuclear family, that is standing for the principle of keeping what do they call it? That insulting term they use
Cisgender
for
privilege.
straight folk, cisgendered
Privilege.
privilege. And they want to promote the trannies or whatever in the hell they call themselves to be the leaders, and they want to promote pedophilia, so I refuse to go for it. It has nothing to do with me. Now, that being the case, it maybe Trump is on top of it, whereas some other people are not. So
Well, he called them a Marxist organization
they
on a
are. They call each other comrade. I mean, that's their business. I'm not all that worked up about it.
well,
But yeah, I'm not all that worked up about it. But you go around calling yourself comrade, comrades, and we must unify to deal with this, that, and the other. What the hell? That sounds that way, you know? Perpetrating.
let's talk about that Netflix thing that I was telling you about last week. Where they're bringing up a thing with 11-year-old women or young girls dancing.
11-year-old girls, children.
Yes. When did this
Twerking.
become acceptable?
Twerking.
What is it? When did this become acceptable?
It's disgusting. That's child abuse. You know, that's criminal.
Well,
That's contributing to the delinquency of a minor to try and promote that.
Well, I want to say something to you, Judge. I was reading, and I realized that when Obama first came into office in 2009, they took sodomy off the books of the National Defense Act. So when you move sodomy out of the playbook, that's why you got all this stuff going on now that you see today.
Well, there's a pragmatic matter. As long as you stay out of somebody's bedroom, it was kind of hard to prove a case involving that. What they are trying to do, though, is clean up the landscape so they can get around to legitimating pedophilia. That's that thing, the second from the bottom on the Black Lesbians Matter mantra, BLM, excuse me, Black Lesbian Mania thing, or Bitch Lesbian Mania thing, where it says they want to end age as a qualifier in the participation in decision making process, in the age as a qualifier in the decision making process. That is straight out of the NAMBLA, North American Man Boy Love Association, an entity that advocates pedophilia. And you have to be careful what you are pushing. Read it. Now, one thing that they discuss later in their site, if you can hold your nose long enough to dig around and find it, is that they are in full disclosure, but they put certain things that they figure that the average black is not going to read. Like if you get into their mantra, what we believe, they have some stuff sounds real good about Trayvon Martin, Ferguson, and all of that stuff. And now they have a slideshow with the late Mr. Floyd, and it sounds good until you get halfway through and then find out what they actually believe. And they count on a lot of black folk just reading so far and say, oh, yeah, sounds good, leaving it at that. Read the whole thing. Well, interesting on Twitter, if you just start type in Black Lives Matter and it'll give you the whole thing. And it used to be what we believe, but we've been ragging them out so tough on it that they changed it, so you have to go dig for it.
Well, but see, I was watching. Well, I'm gonna get to two things right quick that I realized today. One of them, matter of fact, let me get to the first thing. What I saw was an ad that came on my phone today that was telling Boy Scouts that if you were sexually abused, you are entitled for a settlement. Now,
Yeah, the Boy Scouts of America has gone bankrupt to deal with all of the claims of child molestation that have come to light. I was in scouting as a kid and as a scoutmaster later on. I did that for almost 15 years, but I bailed when they started letting openly gay adult scout leaders in. And I said that was not a good thing. And then now, look, 25 years later, look what's happening because it wasn't a good thing. And then the courts even backed that up by saying you had to let them in. And then they tried to clean it up 2, 3 years ago by admitting girls and taking some young 11-year-old girls out into the woods, and you're an adult male and there's nobody around but you and these girls. That's poison. It was also poison to let known child molesters, under the guise of them being open gay types, to take these same 11-year-old boys someplace where there's nobody looking 24/7 for literally seven the whole week. It's poison. And this is the result of it.
well, yes, and then on that same token, with this, not only what you're saying about this Boy Scout thing, but also now that it's so prevalent that, like you said, they took the playbook out of NAMLA, right? So when you take the
They
playbook
did.
out, when you took the playbook, and NAMLA also was endorsing presidential candidates and Senate candidates, you really is really coming into almost like
Yeah,
abuse.
they like Biden
Oh yeah,
and
I know they like
Obama.
Biden. Yeah, well, yeah, he actually said last night that he was a big time supporter of LGBT on the Robin Roberts interview.
And here's the other thing, too, about Kamala Harris. Remember, Biden quite recently promised that he would pick either a gay or a lesbian running mate. So I suppose Kamala Harris fits into the latter category. There have been rumors.
So yeah, that's right. And you know what,
Not
Judge?
saying that, they don't have a shot at equal rights. They do and they should, but just because somebody exercises their rights doesn't mean that they are doing anybody else right by doing so.
Now, now the other thing
So,
was I was sending out a post today by Candace Owens, and Candace Owens sometimes she's got some good stuff, but sometimes she has some problems. So I'm just gonna but this time to me she did pretty well. But she said that Black Lives Matter, the day after George Floyd got killed, they raised $25 million in one day. Or was it $20 million? 25, $25 million, something around there. And she was saying they raised so much money. She was just saying they used George Floyd's death as a prop to get funding. The money is not going to neighborhood schools. It's not going to education. It's going strictly to BLM
well, no, it's not even going to
and the Democratic
BLM. Have you
Party
read that disclosure?
and Act Blue,
They say
Democratic
they
Party.
split their money three ways: BLM, LGBTQIA plus. That's what they say, and they even claim to be an associate, an associated affiliate of LGBTQ. So just keep that in mind. And also, they send money to Act Blue, which is a Democratic Party fundraiser. And they even have a list of candidates that they supported during the primary and how much they sent to them. So
Well,
when you send money to BLM, you're not supporting Black Lives Mattering and work designed to do something about it. You are supporting a front organization that is going to queer up your community, your country, and That's not good.
Well, Judge, this is when I mean a lot of people should get suspicious when you start seeing all these corporations pour this money in. That's when you can tell that hold on, something is not right here.
Oh, and the other thing too, when you see a 28-story federal building with a 20-story banner BLM draped down and some jackasses who are supposed to be young lawyers saying BLM is not a political organization, but hell, on their own site they start talking about the political policies that they are endorsing and sending money to. That comes straight under the 1934 Hatch Act, and I would lawyer came in front of me talking that kind of nonsense, I'd chew him up and spit him out and step on him. That is incompetence.
Well, let me say something to you, Judge. Even down here in Richmond, Virginia, they just approved last week to put a BLM memorial somewhere in Richmond. And I'm sitting there saying,
why should the taxpayers support a queer affirming network? I mean, the idea, yeah, that Black Lives Matter as much as any, that's a good thing, but that's not what's going on. You are enabling an organization that is actually dedicated to the ruination of the Black family and straight Black men and women. That's what you are enabling. So you are allowing governmental participation in fundraising of something that's trying to destroy families. And if any damn fool doesn't get it, it goes this way. If you're going to get your act together, if you're going to move somewhere, you need men and women. You need a home to produce them in. And if you're trying to destroy the homes that would produce men and women that do what they need to do so that Black folk can get free and get economic viability, then you are jacking the whole process from the front end. So why in the devil should government funding be directed toward an organization whose avowed and stated purpose is the destruction of the traditional family and straight men and women?
Okay, now let me say something else to you here because I want to bring this to you. So last week, like I said, Judge, sometimes you're a hard guy to catch, but I'm glad I was able to catch you on this one because I wanted to bring up last week, they brought up this group, YouTube group called QAnon. QAnon is a right-wing, they call them right-wing. The FBI is trying to market as a terrorist organization, but they have a lot of videos that talk about that Donald Trump is trying to save the world from pedophiles and all this stuff. But they asked him in a press conference about QAnon, and they asked him, "Are you trying to save the world from a satanic cult of pedophiles?" And Trump replied, "They support me, but if I am, is that a bad thing?" That's the question we need to ask. Is it a bad thing if you're trying to stop pedophiles? No, it's not a bad thing. That's what I look at. I don't
have a problem with it, but I do have a problem. See, in this country, everybody's got the same rights, but the exercise of those rights has varying results, and some of those results are bad for the people. So when you start talking about bad for the people, I just say the result is bad. Therefore, what is being advocated, it produces that result is bad. So go after the platform that's trying to achieve those bad ends. There's nothing wrong with that. And by the way, I would just say anybody that CNN is against, you probably should vote for because the person that they're against probably has the same value system that you do. Now, we get these people that make a business off of being against white supremacy. You know, that's their little hustle. So they keep pushing it. Yeah, it's out there. It's adversity. But we've had lions, bears, tigers, wolves, cougar, sharks, all kinds of things that we have faced as adversity, but we deal with them.
Let me say something about that right quick. I want to bring that up, come to think about it. Like, as a matter of fact, one of these women won a seat, I think in Georgia, or won the primary from this group. And she came out and said it. "We are here to stomp out Black Lives Matter and Antifa." She said this. So
That I don't have any problems with it. I don't have problems with Black Folk Matter. That's a good thing to push, but all BLM is doing is giving superficial justification to some little ratchet cupcakes and Antifa types running around rioting under the guise that they're doing an ecology thing to save the Afro bipeds. You know, my God, we imported all of these Afro bipeds from Africa, and now they're escaping from the planted, excuse me, farms, and they are feral now. And we need to do something humane about them so they don't get chained up in these kennels. I guess some people call them penitentiaries. So, my God, what are we going to do? 1995 a month, the ASPC, excuse me, BLM will allow you to save an Afro biped so they won't be chained out in the cold this winter and no love. Yeah.
but this is the thing,
The whole
and like you just said,
proposition is
I
insulting.
like I like what you said. It actually made me think about, like you said, anybody that CNN and MSNBC is against, you probably should be supporting, or at least go look and see what they're talking about, because they talking off the mainstream of what they talking about.
Yeah.
I mean,
A point on that.
who you gonna bring up to be Don Lemon, man?
No, look at a candidate's records. What have they been doing for you lately? What
Okay.
have they done for you in the past? What have they done against you in the past? Pay attention to deeds, not dogma. And
Well,
then, yeah, P.S. If CNN tells you the candidate is bad, you should probably vote for him. Okay, let's go over that. What
okay.
have they been doing for you lately? Look at the Democratic Party slate. What have they done? Nothing. What has the Democratic Party done in the House? Nothing. What have they done for you in the past? We had 8 years of the Obama tang, the Bush boy from Kenya and Indonesia with a little bit of a Kansas connection on the white side. What did he do? Not a damn thing. Certainly wasn't Obamacare, which was drafted by Senate Majority Leader Republican Bill Frist of Tennessee, whose family founded Blue Cross Blue Shield, and they get a lot from that. The rest of us, not much. What have they done for you in the past? The answer is zip zero, not in years, not in 50 years since LBJ. What have they done against you in the past? Okay, look at Kamala Harris is locking up black folk in the Bay Area. Look at her total disinterest and disdain for ordinary mortgage holders in the state of California, where she let One West Bank and George Soros off the hook for 5,000 some counts of indictments returned by various counties. Okay, look at Biden's participation in the 94 crime bill and in the 1980 crime bill, and what he did trying to block desegregation, not integration, but desegregation of the schools back in the 70s. Okay, so what have we got on the other side with Trump? Well, more money to historical black colleges and universities, the highest rate of black employment in 50 years, the highest purchasing income amongst the black community, the highest it's been in 50 years. More black officers promoted to flag rank in the Navy, Marine Corps, Army, and Air Force, and in the Marines. Well, I said Marines, yes. Okay, so those are symbolic, a goodly number of black judges. So, what is it exactly that we are lacking from the current incumbent that we will get from someone with a demonstrated past history of disdain? And basically, we're getting used. You vote for somebody black these days, a Democrat, what you're doing is voting for the LGBT queer folk. You're not voting for yourself. So what are we getting out of it? Politics is a game we do not know how to play. There is no such thing as political loyalty unless you've got a chokehold on the decision-making process of that party. In other words, you own some stock in it, and you get to call the shots, and you get dividends for your stock interest. We get none of that. So what is the loyalty? That's just the loyalty of the slave to the plantation. We's and sure enough be down on that Democratic Party plantation. We's and sure love our Democratic jackass symbol. White folk, we sure be loving them. We love them gay folk too. Yes, we does.
Well, yeah, but you know something, Judge, when you think about what you're talking about there, I was just saying, like, when it comes to, and you actually, when Trump was running, I listened to one of your videos from a while back, and you actually said businessmen don't make the best politicians.
No, they tend to deal with the bottom line rather than the bullshit, you know. Let me put it this way. Think of humanity as a pyramid.
Okay.
If you're at the top of the pyramid, there's very few. If you're down toward the bottom, there's a whole lot. The average person is not very intelligent down in here. He's not very well read down in here. He's not hip on what's going on down in here. He's quite stuck on stupid down in here. So there's a game played by the people at the top, which is what they have to do to get in place to get their agendas run. And the agenda may or may not have something good for you as a constituent, but for most of them, they're appealing to their emotionalism. They're throwing out dog whistle words that they can count on bringing all of the dogs to them when they get called. Here, boy.
Well, let me say something about Mr. Trump right quick. I just want to bring this up. But that's why I always tell people, you know, like you're asking a man who has never been in politics to be politically correct. What do you want people to lie to you in your face and make it sound good? Or would you just want Donald Trump to tell you straight up what it is? I think I take my chances and let you say what it is.
Yeah, he's a man. See, in other words, right now, you have the man versus the sissies. And Donald Trump isn't a Republican. The Republicans have their own set of problems. They're so stuck on stupid on this sanctity of free enterprise that they have missed out on a lot of things that need to be done for the general public. The Democratic Party claims that's their interest, but they're lying because the only interest they have is LGBT queer. And if you're in that set, everything is tossed your way. And the last time they were in a position of power leading up to 2016, the election, what were they talking about for the year and a half before that? It was a great debate on who gets to piss in the girls' room besides girls.
And as a matter of fact, Joe Biden and Harris on that ticket said they want to go back to the Obama-Biden mandate of trying to get you to go make restrooms gender free.
Yeah, well, okay, look at this. They got a tranny leader who is under indictment for multiple counts of rape. He wanted to have a gender-free child. He was going to rape some women and impregnate them. Then you've got this thing where a number of people have been indicted because they claim to be identifying with whatever in the hell they call themselves, but they're trannies doing drag queen stuff. So they got put in with the women at women's penitentiaries, and now they've been indicted for rape. You know, that's the same thing they're inviting by putting these deranged folk into the same bathrooms with the girls. Now, if you got a culture like you do in Europe, where there have been years and years, and there's another thing going on, that's one thing, but you have to deal with a reality Well, I'll give you an example of the reality. When I sentenced anybody for a serious offense and for a lot of lesser ones, I had the discretion of ordering a psychological examination. When I sentenced someone who was accused of child rape, I would have them assessed, and they would put transducers on their penises and show them porn. Well, they'd get 3 or 4% of a rise when they saw traditional man woman porn, but get a 97, 98, 99, 100% erection when they saw porn dealing with adults having sex with children of the same sex, or some of them children of the opposite sex. So they would have that as a response they couldn't control. Now, that is something you can't change. So once you get one of these people, you have an ongoing threat to the rest of the population. That's why they have these lists of sexual offenders near you that you can look up. That is to protect the children and the women in the area. So these are realities that some people want to disregard, and it's not fair to the general public to do so.
Okay, now you're right about that. So now I was gonna say, Judge, because I know you've been on this earth 73 years, and I know you said that men shouldn't be scared, but I got some ideas in my own head. But how do you present on getting the black man back to manhood?
Well, you got to start with the home. You need some fathers in the home or effective father substitutes. If you can't get it in the home, then you need it in the general society. And we don't have it. The general society is trying to induce them to be sissies, unmanly. And they're trying to recruit for their LGBT queer thing. So that's not good. The other thing is society, we're getting bamboozled. The media is trying to get us to think that we are in the minority for thinking like ordinary, normal people. We are the majority. You have maybe 6.5% of the population that's like that, maybe 10, 12% that has to always jump on the politically correct cause, no matter whether it's saving polar bear and dogs, all the way up to people. So it is what it is. It's nice. Everybody has their rights. I don't give a damn what you do in your own bedroom. But when you start setting policy that is very bad for the rest of the country or the neighborhood, then I have something to say about it. And quite frankly, I was not like this 20 years ago. I got into that Hollywood thing 22 years ago. I didn't have too big a problem from the gay boys, but those lesbians are some vicious bitches. They want to put a knife in your back any and every time they can try to slip one in. They're detestable, they're immoral, they're crooked, they're wrongdoing. And then I found out some of the gay boys were that way too. I'm looking at people at the top echelons, and they're around the cocktail table drinking, and they're bragging about how badly they ranked each other out. Yeah, I told old Bobby over there one day, just for the hell of it, I don't know what got into me, but I ruined him, lost his wife, lost his home, everything, and all his bank accounts, but I really got him. Now we're business buddies again, like, you didn't break this fool's kneecaps. What's the matter with you? But it is what it is.
Well, the other thing I was gonna say, I mean, usually, I probably would, you probably would have a woman ask this, but and as far as the women, how do you think they should conduct things better so we can get back to?
Well, the women do not need to support this tranny thing. A woman is a woman. She has periods. She has delicacies. She's got migraines. She has to go through the pregnancy process, the birthing process. She has to lactate. She's got to do this whole thing about motherhood and what she has been conditioning her to do. That is a wrongful insult to these women to turn around and say this clown who has got mental health issues, who's a drag queen, wants to be considered a woman. It's not the same. And I don't care what they want. That's not reality. Mother Nature spent 4 billion years on this planet evolving the male female thing where the boys and girls either smell differently but attractive to each other, look differently but attractive to each other, sound differently but attractive to each other, act differently but attractive to each other, and then they want to jump in and foul the works up because some fool's got a sick fantasy. You know,
Well,
that's not
yeah,
the way of it.
yeah, and that's what I just wanted to ask you, because I know sometimes we have this thing like I'll make it like you know what happened in Wisconsin yesterday, and with the brother that's been got shot in the back by the police officer now, and I think
Oh, that, yes, I heard about that.
they burned the car lot um in the same place. Now I don't know if that, I got to go back and look. I don't know if that was Antifa or that was us. Now, like I said, if it's us, I'm yeah, you know, hey Judge, you did that in the '60s.
Yeah, but let me say this: Antifa, from the information I'm getting, it looks like it is an adjunct of the Jewish Defense League or Anti-Defamation League. More power to them. I mean, I guess World War II was a wake-up call. No more. And they've got Israel and they've got the Mossad. But considering the advanced communications and the very proficient logistics that are available to Antifa and what they do, most recently, you see them, they have these very well crafted defensive shields with the same emblems on each of them. And if you see a bunch of them lined up, it looks like it's all uniform, made out of the same workshop or factory, and the same helmets and a body armor on. And that looks like Soros is funding some money, or somebody like him, or somebody's like him, into something that's fronting off behind the Afro biped / ecology movement. And maybe they're just getting an opportunity to take shots at the skinheads, the Aryan Nation, the neo-Nazis and American Nazis and the Klan and all of that other stuff.
They got ran out of. Now wait a minute. Now there was a group called the Proud Boys in Portland, Oregon yesterday that ran Antifa out of town.
I'm not surprised.
But
Antifa has been using the excuse of we must protect the Afro bipeds, and they've been rioting, or not rioting. I don't call it a riot when you've got a huge city and you've got maybe 200 people out there over and over again. That's not a riot. That's not an uprising. That's not even a protest. That's just law enforcement being too slack on some folk they ought to crack down on. See, 50 years ago, 200 people, they would have run them straight off the street. So there was a little tactic they started using back then. Anybody that was interested could come in and join the proceedings, but they couldn't leave. Once you got in, you were stuck there, and then you got jacked up.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. This is the thing, and I know in your time, you know, like, I mean, you were in California. I mean, like what happened? Los Angeles. When you were out there, I mean, burning down the town for you and the others were like.
Talking about the 65 riots and a few other things too.
That was nothing.
Was not peaceful, non-violent demonstration stuff going on. Yeah.
So
well, I'm not going to talk about it. You can still go to jail for some of that stuff. So, you know, I'll talk about it in one way.
I'm just going to ask the question, because I really, you know, with the thing in Milwaukee, I mean, with Kenosha, Wisconsin, I'm like, if that was us that did it, more power to us. But I want to know something. When you were out there, were there as many women out there today? I mean, in your time, or was that mostly the men doing this?
How's the men?
Okay,
You
that's what I
had
want to
different
know.
things going on. The white boys were protesting the war. All right. You had white girls doing this feminine thing, feminist thing. You had gay boys protesting for gay rights. You had the beta boys jumping in the whole thing with the white folk because they weren't making it in a white man's world, even though they were white males. And then you had the black stuff, which was totally different. Now, the black stuff was more closely allied with third world, brown, Latino, and now they want to call it Latinx because Latinx is supposed to be non-biased by gender. With the hell with that, is he, she, it,
Okay,
and Latino. You know,
I got a guy over here in the
you
chat.
got the Native American thing, and you got the Asian American thing. Uh, we did a third world collaboration every now and then. In
I,
fact,
I,
most of the time, strength in numbers.
I got a guy over here.
Nowadays, you see mostly women out there.
I got a guy in the chat. He said that he lives in this area where the car lot was burned down. It was an insurance job, and it was a shiesty guy that owns that car lot. A lot of car lots in that area. That was the only one burned down. He said this was an insurance payoff anyway. That's what he's trying to
Yeah,
say.
well, I mean, it's a good cover if you want to do something like that. It's these Antifa, BLM folk that are out there doing it. I didn't burn it down to get an insurance payout so I could recoup my monies from a failing business.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, so yeah, I just this brother in the chat, he just said he lives there, so he said this is part of a crafted plot. I mean, and that's happening now. I want to say a couple more things, and then I'm gonna go get this paper and read a slight bit of it to you. The another thing happening down here, and I was telling you this last week when we gave you a call and you answered the phone this time. You know, you're a busy man, so we can't catch you, but you did answer, and I want to thank you for that. But I do want to
I
say,
may have had a date or something, occasionally that does happen.
okay, I mean, hey, man, it is what it is.
I'm
But
old school. I don't like to hang with the boys and play basketball. I like to converse with pretty ladies.
it's all right. I understand. No problem with that. Same here. Now, down here in Richmond, we got a mayor trying to pass some. You know, we down here with Ralph Northam, this cuckoo bird. But who really to me should be the governor after the blackface scandal. But that's just me. You know, everybody else will take their opinion. But what I'm gonna say is this thing they're trying to pass a law where you like if you got an event, they're saying that you shouldn't be at an event. People need to feel safe and not worry about people having guns at an event because people don't feel it's safe. You know, I'm like, oh, come on, man. What do you think?
Okay, look, you got guys like me walking around. I've been taking martial arts for 55 years. One of my instructors, Black Belt Magazine, calls the most dangerous human alive in North America. Matter of fact, we're best friends. Grandmaster, Sensei, Guru, Pendecker, Cliff Stewart. Now, he's not doing well. Not doing well at all. But people like him, like me, some of his other folk, 15 years ago, I could have killed you in 15, 20 seconds with no weapons. Might take me 30 seconds to do it now. So we're walking around in crowds and walking through parking lots, malls, shopping centers, being invited to speak to kids. So we could kill a whole classroom full of kids all by ourselves with no weapons. So what do you do about us? See, so this whole thing about guns just reflects an attitude toward humanity that is not good. In other words, this crowd does not trust the people they claim to be representing. We don't trust you because you're so stupid you're going to do something stupid. Well, You know, it used to be you never saw humans when they did not have weapons about them because there were lions out there wanting those same humans for lunch. You know? So you don't disarm the warrior or the hunter because a slave might cut himself with a sharp spear.
Okay, let me get this paper for
That's
you.
bad. I don't like that.
Let me get this paper for you right quick, and I want to read some stuff off here.
Let me say something real quick before that. I don't care who you are, what you believe, you have an absolute right under the U.S. Constitution to the same rights everybody else has. When you exercise those rights, then you are subject to pushback if others don't like those rights. That's just like people want to castigate Trump, and I want to castigate Joe Benchwarmer, backburner, bumbling Biden, and sleaze Kamala Harris, who slept her way to the top. But when you put yourself out there in politics and in the social world trying to advocate for something, you become subject to the same pushback that Biden or Trump or Pence or Harris become subject to for doing what they do. Now, that's what I'm saying. You got a right to do what you do in your bedroom, but when you try to kick your way into my living room and start putting your show on, and I might have friends, associates, or you are imposing policy that's going to screw them up, then I have something to say about it.
All right.
But with that, go ahead, get what you're going to get.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna read. It's a long thing, so I'm gonna just read parts of it. But so this guy, Delaware is the first state, is last in ending slavery, last in granting citizenship, last in segregating schools, and last in ending lynching. In 2010, pamphlet circulated through Kent County, Delaware, illustrating a young black man hanging with the words "cleaning up the streets, one nigger at a time." This shocked the campus of historically black college, Delaware State University. Over the last decade, 5 known suspicious hangings and multiple accidental drownings have gripped Kent County's black community. Despite compelling evidence of foul play and the work of a few committed activists and local politicians, incidents were played down and swiftly filed away. Devoid of thorough investigative procedure, families were barred from access to the deceased for days, clothes were washed without warning, and autopsies were breezed over or skipped altogether. Each incident was quickly ruled suicide, and families were left with more questions than answers. There was one survivor that attempted listening. Despite his testimony, a recorded 911 call witnesses sworn statements to Attorney General Bo Biden, and a Dover human rights.
How the hell do you name somebody Bo?
And a Dover Human Relations Commission. This story was discredited and suppressed. Unremarkable investigative work reveals requisite federal involvement. The victims and families are due justice and closure. Black Delawareans are at risk while suspicious hangings and drownings persist. There is a bright future for our nation, but it is necessitated largely upon equal protection under the law for all citizens, regardless of race, color, ethnicity, or race or ethnicity. And then this is a thing from the department to Attorney General Met Dean in 2015. This was the Department of Justice of Kent County, Dover, Delaware, on June 15th, June 1st, 2015, regarding lynchings of African American males in the Dover area, was afforded to the Office of Civil Rights and Public Trust for consideration. So a lot of things went on during the Obama and Biden administration, and it's still going on since. And what this brother was just telling me, you can't be serious about running for president if you can't even address lynchings in your own state and drowning.
Well, there you go.
So, I mean, this was really concerning. The brother looking for help. I went and talked to him yesterday. Seems like a good brother. I told him that I'm gonna try to get his story out, but I said, brother, y'all gotta like. I told him like we gotta fight back physically and judicially. If you got a coon and he ain't doing nothing, get him out. And on the street, you just gotta fight back physically and do what you gotta do, man, because hey man, not safe. You gotta fight back. And I said, look, when the cat is running after the mouse know how to run, but they're going to rat gonna fight back, and they say you just got to fight back. That's all it is.
Well, they have a legal term. It's called res ipsa loquitur. It means the thing speaks for itself. Res, R-E-S, ipsa, I-P-S-A, loquitur, L-O-Q-U-I-T-U-R. 3 separate words. Latin, it means the thing speaks for itself. You don't have to explain it. You just laid it out. That's rotten policy.
Can you see that post right there?
Yes,
paper?
protect our something or another.
Protecting our own, yeah. So that's what
protecting our own.
But he's like I said, I told him, brother, you got to fight back because if you don't fight back, you won't get the respect. But Judge, like I said, I always appreciate talking to you. You're a man of mighty wisdom, and hey man, keep on spreading the good knowledge, brother. You inspire a lot of people with just the words you say. I mean, most people, they look at you as people probably still, remember you from the show when I was a little child. My parents used to watch you, so you used to come on behind Judge Judy and them. But it's always good to talk to you in person. And
yes, sir, young man. And by the way, I'm glad you're saying that about me because I've been called as a misogynistic, homophobic, all kinds of things. Short man, gay fearing or whatever. But the bottom line is right's right, wrong's wrong, and I always call the shots. I don't give a damn who gets offended. I mean, I don't use cuss words when I'm around polite people or in a polite circumstance. I open the door for the ladies, pull the chairs out for them, stand up when they stand up when they're sitting down, and try to do those things. Ladies and, well, women and children in the lifeboat first when the Titanic's going down. And a new thing that they didn't have to worry about 100 years ago is when the drag queens try to sneak in with the women, grab them and throw them on the other side of the ship as chum for the sharks to keep the sharks off the lifeboats full of women and children.
Well, let me say that. The one thing you said about opening doors. Some women these days act like you ain't got to open the door for me. I'm a woman.
Well, I don't look. Every woman, every female is not a woman, and every woman's not a lady. So I deal with the higher level. In other words, if you are a lady, I'm going to treat you like a lady. I will treat all women like they're ladies until I find out I made a mistake.
Well, listen, Judge, and I was going to say this, because, I know a lot of entertainers, they use a celebrity for not the right reasons, but you being a former TV judge and also a real judge and actually using your platform to talk to people about issues that affect their everyday life, a lot of people surely appreciate for it. I do. Everybody doesn't agree. We don't need that all the time, but guess what? I do appreciate that you take your time to talk to me and many others. So hey, one thing about it, you can always speak what you gotta say because I won't get offended. Some people will, you just looking at manhood from your side of the aisle from, growing up. And I think that's if we can get back to at least 95 or 80% of that, we would be okay when I
Okay,
turn 73 years old.
you can edit this if it's for the wrong audience, but there's some old things that need to be brought out. Power to the people, right on. If you don't like it, kick my ass if you can. If you started, you can't kick my ass, I'm kicking yours. Another one, be careful. Some of us old folk did some things you young folk haven't done, and if you mess with us, you might find out what those things are. So I think Ash T put one out. He said, when you get the bad mouth and old folk, he said you need to go check some rap sheets to find out what they are about. So it all boils down to that. If you don't like something, how far are you willing to go? You aren't going very far if all you do is open your mouth. Sometimes you got to whip ass when necessary.
Well,
And that's the policy. I always say, if you really don't like it, talk all you want. If I feel like it, I might run the dozens on you. You know, talk about your mama too. But if you really don't like it, whip my ass. You might get embarrassed by an old man. Plus, there are those other things too that I won't talk about on here. But you know,
listen.
150 years ago, they used to say God made man. Colonel Colt made them equal. He invented the revolver, if you recall.
Well, look, man.
Yeah.
Well, listen. You know something, Judge? More people need to better reach you. Shout out your Twitter. You know, so people can reach you on Twitter.
Yeah. At Judge Joe Brown TV. Yeah, this is me. I don't have a damn blue check. At Judge Joe Brown TV. That's me. Don't come if you are a pussy. You know, don't come if you are a sissy. Come if you are a lady. Come if you are a gentleman. Come if you are a badass. But if you a punk, keep the hell away because I might embarrass you.
Well, listen, and don't send him no soft porn. He might get upset.
Yeah, that's what they keep doing. It's not even soft. You know, those things you go down and people to follow or whatever it is, they keep putting that stuff on my site. See, or like even look at Facebook. Facebook wouldn't even let me go in as Judge Joe Brown. They wanted me to go in as Judge Jose Brown. They wouldn't believe I'm me.
Wow.
I don't know why, because they think I'm supposed to push that bullshit CNN party line about LGBT queer is in here. No, it's not. It's their business, but it ain't my business. And just like some of you like to push back about Trump, some of you like to push back about Biden, I push back about bullshit. And if you're trying to mess with the family, the children, to hell with you. In manhood is sacred. You don't get to be some man because you got a dick or you want to claim it. You got to earn that title.
With all the knowledge you be talking, Judge, you ought to have more than you probably do have more than 6,000 Twitter followers. Actually, they could be doing some things on there. Huh?
Well, yeah, I'm supposed to have coming up on 35,000 now. Even though I have no blue check, it ramps up a few hundred, and then they knock off a couple of hundred. Then it'll ramp back up. You know, they do what they do, but the message is not for everybody. It's just for those who have leadership aspirations, who want to find out some things that might help them become effective leaders.
Well,
I'll let them reach everybody. But like there was some idiot put something on, literally said, I had blue jello and it quivered when I ate it. And within hours, this fool had 62,000 some likes on that. Who gives a goddamn about blue jello? That shows you stuck on stupid stuff.
Well, I just want to say thanks for coming on tonight. I know some other people are gonna try to reach out to you this week, so I'm just glad I was able to catch you on this Monday night. And you take care, and keep on pushing Black Power, brother, and we'll talk again soon.
Yeah, man. I let you in because I knew it was you, and I already made the agreement. See, ordinarily when I get the call this time of night, it's something fine. See.
Hey, look,
And
man.
by the way, dudes, man, you're not upholding. There are more 25-year-old virgin boys in America than there are 25-year-old virgin girls. What the hell is wrong? Your game ain't strong. And the game ain't the game. The game is just being a man. And that'll get you all the nookie you want and need.
Well, look, like you say, like you always say, man up. So I'm gonna say,
Man up.
Man up, brother.
Up.
And we'll
Man
talk
the
later.
hell up. All right,
Have a
I'm
great
out of
night.
here, young brother. It's always my pleasure. Here
You
you
too,
go.
brother.
Wait a minute. Let me get over. Yeah, 2 thumbs up.
Yes, sir.
2 thumbs up.
All right, brother.
There you go. I'm out of here.